now, or shall I wait?
Uh, a minute maybe, and Jahangir, a few words from you.
Good evening, team.
Hi, Jahangir, welcome.
Hi. Actually, this is my first meeting in BITSAA, I think.
Oh, lovely.
Actually, just an introduction. I'm working as an US-based MNC, windmill sector, TPA composites, and I have completed my MTech in WALP. And actually, it was a wonderful experience, I can say. That's all. Thanks.
Which location are you based out of, Jahangir?
Chennai based.
Oh, very nice. In fact, we should connect more because this particular area or industry you said is very interesting because from the campus also we've been hearing some a request where can we have more PS students taken on board for both mechanical and such industries. Probably I'll probably discuss with you offline to consider the
Please.
possibility of seeing if we can have your company considering PS2 students for the upcoming period.
Sure. I'll always support you. Okay. Sure.
Thanks very
Yeah,
much.
Thank you.
Jagir, that is very interesting, if I may say, because not many people from such expertise, yeah, generally. So I did 30 years in Indian Navy, and we use composites, as you know, for many of
Oh,
the
yes,
systems.
yes,
So,
yes.
so this is so heartening that I have somebody from, related industries. Great, welcome, thanks. Yeah,
Lovely,
Vignesh,
lovely,
over.
lovely. And the other point where you also mentioned that you are a WLP student, so that also is a double dhamakam for us because we also been taking as much effort to involve and invite as many people from the system. So welcome, Jahangir, and we look forward to having you in our upcoming sessions also. And
Sure.
great, great.
Thank you.
So with that, let us get started with our event for the day. Uh, Thanks a lot, Shivangi, for accepting our invite today. So, as a member of BITSAA Chennai event, the BITSAA Chennai is the next big uh, event. We've been hosting a lot of virtual events ever since the lockdown, and especially in the last 3 weeks, we've been focusing on inviting startups and what impact they can make to the society. And within that area, we felt Shivangi was focusing on a very, very interesting subject of data privacy, and she's a specialist in information services or information and risk and data privacy. Probably I will invite Shivangi, but before inviting Shivangi, I'll probably have a very quick brief about Shivangi shared here. Shivangi Nadkarni has over 24 years of experience in the domains of information, risk, and data privacy, e-commerce, and networks. She has handled multiple roles over the years at SIFI, Wipro, before she co-founded Arrka. Arrka empowers organizations to implement and manage their InfoSec and data privacy programs through its Arrka Intelligent platform. Shivangi has indeed authored the first textbook on data privacy in India. Kudos to you, Shivangi, for DSCI, a NASCOM body, for their DCPP, DSI certified privacy professional program. It's very fascinating to see she's also a faculty on their advanced privacy program, uh, DCPLA, which is a DSCI certified privacy lead auditor. Additionally, she is also a co-chair of IAPP, which is International Association of Privacy Professionals, Mumbai chapter. Shivangi has done her post-graduation in management from the Indian Institute of Management, Calcutta, and her graduation in electrical and electronics engineering from BITS Pilani. She is also a CISA, which is Certified Information Systems Auditor from ISACA, which is ISACA, a CIPT Certified Information Privacy Professional from IAPP. And she is a regular speaker at various forums. That's a whole lot of jargons there, Shivangi. Fabulous stuff there. Uh, I hope I probably have missed out a couple of them, but thanks for joining, Shivangi. And I'm sure privacy is a very, very interesting subject, fascinating subject with social media ruling the roost. All the more important for individuals or lay person like us to be very watchful about. So the stage is all yours, and we look forward to learn through this journey of yours. Thanks. The stage is yours, Shivangi.
Thanks so much, Vignesh, and such a pleasure being here. I'm from Chennai, though I moved out a few years ago, but I'm at heart Chennaiite. So this is special, and Shrikant has been asking me for a long time to come and take the session face to face. So I think the good part of the pandemic is that I can do this remotely, which has not been possible till now. I'm going to just share my screen quickly so that we can, I'd like to use a presentation. Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, can you see my screen?
Yeah, indeed. You'll have to just go to the, yeah, perfect.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so let's try. I'm used to doing this in a very interactive manner. So please stop me whenever, and any questions you have, so that we kind of get the most of this session. Okay. So the way we've kind of planned it, which Vignesh and I were talking about before I put this together, was that I'll do this as a presentation, and then we can have a series of course question answers, but it doesn't have to be so structured. So anytime you want, just stop me. We're a small group as well, so good that we can make this as interactive as we can. Okay. So let me sort of begin by saying what is the product in each of these cases, like Google or Facebook or Gmail. Anyone?
Could you repeat again, Shivangi? You weren't a little audible.
What is the product? Like, what is the product for Gmail? What is the product that you get?
The mail.
Basically, data, information.
Right. Right. What else? Like, what is the product of YouTube?
Visual information.
Visual information. Okay.
Visual entertainment. Visual
okay.
education. Visual infotainment.
Great. Facebook. Time pass.
Again, information, but maybe socially connected.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. All of you are right, and all of you are wrong as well. Let's be very clear with all of them. You are the product. Okay. What you get is the functions of functionality that they provide you, which could be search, could be mail, could be video, etc. But their product is you. Okay. And you pay with the currency of your personal data. Right? That's the fundamental thing. It's not free, as in we all believe it's free, but in reality it's not free. So why? Because what is the most valuable resource in the world today? It's your data, right? So there's so much of discussion around personal data, and today you keep hearing people spouting this, right? Data is the new oil, etc., etc. So let's first understand what is personal data. Okay, because there's a lot of confusion. So intuitively, if I ask you what is personal data, you'll say my name, my address, my mobile number. Maybe some of you will say financial information, or some of you will say your medical history. Right? So let's really understand what all comprises personal data. So till now, the understanding of all of us intuitively has been, all of this: identity, demographic, financial, health, even stuff like, our political affiliations and stuff like that. But all of that is what we call above the surface data, which is visible to all of us and we all know. But today, the definition of personal data has actually moved and expanded to cover a lot of what is called below the surface data. Okay, that is, stuff like device identifiers, online identifiers, your location data, your IP address, data that gets generated as a result of analytics or AI, and so on. Okay, all of them actually all of that is considered personal data, because it some way directly or indirectly leads people to who you are and making, you know, letting them know who you are, right? And that's what the game is about. So the first reaction from everybody is, but why is this such a big deal? I am a nobody, right? I mean, why would somebody want to target me or use my data? What's so great about it? So remember that you have, on one hand, you have the bad guys who want your data to, you know, either steal it or sell it or use you as a pawn in some much bigger attack that they want to sort of do on somebody else, and you're just the via media for it. Okay. But you also have the good guys, so called in quotes, right, who want your data because they want to understand you so thoroughly that they can, you know, target you for ads and sell products and influence you. Okay. So remember that you are not really a nobody, right? So there are, wherever there's data in, you know, basically there are risks, right? So one set of risks come from what we call above board or legitimate activities. And one set of risks come from below the line of what is criminal activities. Okay, let's understand both. The bad guys first, and this is something which the media talks about so much. All of us also kind of you know, in talk about how something got attacked and something got leaked, and you know, so and so had a hack, etc., etc., right? So let's talk a bit about that. Cybercrime, incidentally, back in you know, a long time ago, took over as the largest revenue generator in the underworld, far surpassing drugs. Okay. Even, I mean, 2018, I don't even have updated figures. The profits alone were estimated to be around, you know, $1.5 trillion. So I don't even, you know, want to go to where it would be today, right? So that's the kind of thing at stake, and your data is what is at stake over here, right? So I don't know if any of you heard of Jamtara. There's a good documentary about this also a while ago. Anyone here has heard of Jamtara? So Jamtara is the hub of cybercrime in India. Okay, yeah, it is basically you know, you know, heart of Jharkhand, a place which is nowhere. And a few years ago, the police suddenly started noticing that people were getting SUVs, they were getting fancy phones, they were getting pakka houses, and they were wondering where the money is coming from. And then they figured that this is what was happening. People were basically calling and doing phishing and all those kinds of attacks, and you know, essentially indulging in cybercrime. What does that tell you? It shows that you don't need education, you don't need the ability to speak English, you don't need fancy tech skills to be able to indulge in cybercrime. If a back of the beyond place which is in the boondocks can essentially be the hub of cybercrime, you can just imagine how easy it is. Okay. So what really happens, right? Various ways in which you can sort of get attacked is, let's say you have, you know, you have your data, you have access that data and it's stored on, you know, devices. It could be your mobile phone. Increasingly, it's our mobile phone and mobile devices, and of course our laptops and desktops. You know, unpatched software is one big boo-boo. Okay. The amount of stuff that can come into your devices because your apps are not patched or your latest patch is not applied is humongous. Okay. Then you have malicious files, videos, photos, etc., that you may open. Now, a lot of us are sensitive that we don't open, you know, suspicious files that come in by mail. But most of us open every forward that comes on WhatsApp, for example, right? Every video, every presentation, every audio is opened. So when we say, you know, malicious files, that's in the language of our industry, it's called a vector. So that's one vector that is used to deposit malware on your device, so to say. Okay. And you visit malicious websites, you just visit it and, you know, stuff gets downloaded on your device. Phishing, I'm sure a lot of you have heard of it. Not only heard of it, you may have been a victim of it, which is, you know, you get mails, you get calls these days, you get messages saying, you know, click on so and so has been stuck in London with no money, and or it says that your password is changed, your account has been locked, and click here, etc., etc. That's all different versions of phishing. And I think our banks also do a lot of advertisements to warn people about phishing, right? Then insecure Wi-Fi connections. I mean, how many of us use free Wi-Fi wherever we get, right? Because it's very tempting. But remember that it's free for you, it's free for others as well. Free for cyber criminals who may be also using the same Wi-Fi network, and very easy to get hold of your devices. Social engineering, which is calling people pretending to be someone, again very, very common. And of course, people who steal your credentials like user IDs, passwords, mainly by depositing malware on your machine and then therefore being able to use it. Okay. And so, as I said, all of this is used to deposit malware, steal your credentials, and essentially grab control of your device. Okay. That's really what happens when we say cybercrime or there's an attack. It can happen at a massive level. It can happen on servers, or it can happen on your little mobile phone. Okay. But this is what essentially happens. So what does malware do? One is, of course, it can cause harm. So it'll, we know viruses, right? They can completely destroy your data, or they can send messages or make calls from your phone, or whatever they can do. They can really create havoc, right? They can steal the information, and that's what a lot of people do silently, right? Your bank account details, your passwords. There are specialized programs called keystroke loggers that can record every keystroke of yours on your machine. That's why you have this virtual keyboard concept on a lot of websites, right? So that you don't use your keyboards. They can take complete control of your machine and use that to send data out to what is called a command and control center somewhere at the back end. And it can be used to, extract money. Today, all of you've heard of ransomware attacks. What is it? It basically means somebody's gotten hold of your data or your machine and is demanding money in return, right? So this is what are all, these are below the surface, below the line criminal activities. Okay. The reason I brought this up is so that you understand that this happens, and this is what, whenever we think of security, this is what we essentially think of. Now, privacy is not all of this. Privacy is a completely different ball game, and what it is, let's understand that, right? So let's look at the above the board guys. Okay. Basically, we all create digital footprints with all that we do, right? Whether we are browsing, whether we're eating, where we're going, whom we are chatting with, what we are watching on, like, let's say Netflix, what we are reading on our Kindle, the music we listen to, where we shop, all of that is essentially collected, organized by algorithms, analyzed, and your unique footprint is created, which is constantly being enriched with all that we do online. Okay. How is that possible? Because one is via the content that you actively volunteer, which you feed, right? Your posts, your comments, your likes, all of that is content that you volunteer. Also, there's a whole bunch of stuff about you that is collected that you don't volunteer, but basically gets observed and recorded, and via a bunch of what is called silent watchers. And let's understand what are some of these silent watchers. Okay. And all of this data is aggregated to build a profile for you and your behavior, essentially, right? So which are some of these silent watchers? Cookies, we are all aware of. They're basically small text files containing a little bit of information that's downloaded on your device via the browser, via the website that you visit. Most of the cookies are good cookies. They're needed for your browser to automatically be recognized, and for doing many things. Many functionalities are enabled thanks to the cookies. But it is also can be used for tracking you as well. And there are lots of trackers that are like cookies that are embedded on your device. Okay. Then you have stuff like web and email beacons, which are essentially, tiny pixels, transparent, which you can't see, but basically they get downloaded onto your machine, and people know that it's your machine. So for example, whether you've opened a mail or not is recognized by the fact that if that little pixel is downloaded on your machine, it means that you have opened it. And therefore, if you see today, by default all your mail programs come with images turned off, right? Because they will track you. Two, you can have malicious images being downloaded on your machine. So to protect you, by default mail programs turn off images. Okay. Device fingerprinting, which is your each of our, like whether it's a laptop, whether it's a browser, your mobile device has some unique characteristics which are captured and put together, and a unique fingerprint is developed, like right from timestamps, screen sizes, fonts being used, plugins that have all of that put together. About something like close to 100 such small pieces of data that are collected, and a unique thumbprint or fingerprint is created. This is again used for good stuff. So for example, all of us are familiar that you go to your banking site and you log in from a new computer or a new device. It asks you for more verification, right? It will send you an OTP or it'll do something. Or same thing actually with your Google account or your Facebook account. The first time you use it from a new device, it'll throw you more questions and ask you to do a little bit more to authenticate you, right? How are they figuring out you're from a new device? They're using device fingerprinting. But remember that along with the good comes the not so good, in the sense the same thing is also used to track you, right, and know what you're doing, and so on. There are, like, this is such a rapidly moving sort of area that you have so many such what are known as silent weapons, which goes on and on that list. I'm not getting into the details, but this is just to sort of let you understand that you have lots of ways and lots of mechanisms by which all that you do can be monitored and tracked. Okay. So in short, when you're online, your profile and identity is being built. All this data about you is being collected. And that is getting more and more enriched as the day goes by. Okay. So in my company at Arrka, we run we run a lab, privacy testing lab, where we bring out a report every year, which gives some data points around what goes on for Indian apps and websites. And we're close to releasing this year's report in a couple of days' time. This is to give you some context of what actually happens. So let's look at the mobile ecosystem, right? All of us have a mobile device. We have apps loaded on it, right? Now, apps essentially connect to the device using something called permissions, okay? Most of these permissions are required permissions without which the app is not going to function, right? Some of them are discretionary permissions, in the sense they're good to have. It's not absolutely mandatory for the app to function. Some of these discretionary permissions are called dangerous permissions. It's a terminology coined by Android to say that the permissions, the categories of dangerous permissions are such that the data that they collect is very sensitive about the individual, and therefore that it's dangerous. Now, the other thing about apps is you have many SDKs embedded in the code of the app. A lot of them are third-party SDKs, which means that they belong to a entity that is not the app entity. Okay. Now, whatever data gets collected via permissions is shared with whoever owns the SDK as well, right? So data gets collected, whatever you feed in, and data that gets collected from the background, from the apps in the mobile device via permissions, and it gets sent to the organization who owns the app. It gets sent to all the third parties whose SDKs are embedded in it directly from your device. Okay. Plus, these guys further pump it out into God knows how many tracking, profiling, social media ecosystems that exist. Okay, that's a whole world out there, right? Similarly, on the web ecosystem, you have a ton of tracking technologies. We just saw a few of them. Same thing, they collect data directly, indirectly, in the background, via social media, and all of that is pumped into the tracking ecosystem. Okay. Social media, a lot of you have seen this, right? Sign in with Facebook, sign in with Google, with Twitter. It's something that all of us, it's very convenient, right? But remember that when you use that, the app or the website which is telling you to sign in via one of these actually gets access to your account, and via that they get access to data on your account. So now this has tightened up a lot after, in the last 2-3 years, after a lot of hangama that's gone on about this. But remember that there is still a lot of data. Like, for example, if somebody is plugging into Google, gives them 3 levels of access: basic, medium, and full. Okay. And full access means that they have, the app or the website has exactly the same level of access that you as the actual user have when you give your user ID password. They can do exactly what you do. And Google themselves warn that think twice before you connect to an app or a website that is taking full access. Okay. So these are some things that you need to be aware of when you actually use any of these facilities. Okay. From the study that I talked about, this is data which we've not even yet fully released. It will come out this coming week. Indian apps. Okay, so we're not talking about the Ubers and the Facebook and the Googles of the world. These are Desi apps. 71% have access to your exact location. And when you say exact location, it is the precise location where you're standing. Now, obviously, if you're taking an Uber or an Ola, they need to know precisely where you are. Or if it's, getting delivery of food, they need to know where you are. But you're sometimes wondering, why does, let's say, a music app need to know exactly where you are? Because you have a facility to get what is called approximate location. So they'll know within, 2 miles radius or a kilometer radius where you are. But why do 71% apps really require exact location? We don't know. 46% have access to your microphone. 50% can read your contacts. 62% have access to camera. Okay, these are Indian apps. iOS looks a little better because they have the concept of what is called just in time, which means that when you actually need to use that functionality, the app switches on the permission. But a lot of times, the first time it gets switched on, it remains on. Okay. So, for example, location services in iOS apps also, about 54% is while you're using the app, it's tracking your location, and 18% of it we found just stays on. Okay, so it's nothing actually to do with the OS, it is more to do with the apps. Okay, websites, 99% of the websites we studied have a third-party tracker embedded in it, which means there's somebody other than the abc.com that you've gone to. An average of 22 third-party trackers are embedded in a website. 15 of them are what are known trackers, as in we know, we can easily guess what they are. And about 93% of the websites we studied have advertising and tracking trackers over there. Okay, and these are not necessarily consumer. We have studied across industries, a spectrum. Okay. We also do a special focus on children's apps, okay, and privacy, which is actually quite disturbing. Some of the key findings, for example, 87% of children's apps in India today have access to at least one dangerous permission. Okay, 57% offer in-app purchase options, which means if you've enabled your credit card and fed it into it, somebody can make a purchase. Okay, 64% didn't have a notice that addressed kids under 13. 17% had access to microphone and the ability to record audio, and so on. So some of these are also scary stats. Okay. So the question often comes up is, so what? So what if they have access to this data, right? So let's understand where we are headed. Okay. Your digital footprint that we just talked about and how it gets created is continually added and enriched with time and usage, right? We are all online all the time. this is of course generated by multiple entities because you're in touch with so many people, right? Now all these entities feed into this vast advertising ecosystem, and mind you, these are all above board, and none of this is cybercrime at all. Okay, gets fed into vast advertising ecosystem, who again combine it and supplement it with vast troves of offline data about you. Okay, so that gets even more enriched, and this is fed back to the same entities. It's like a loop, right? Who in turn use it to feed you content based on your profile. So you keep seeing these recommendations, let's say from Amazon, you see recommendations on Netflix based on your usage, but it's not just your usage on their site, it is also the rest of your profile that gives rise to this, right? Again, so what, isn't it a good thing, right? Remember what the concern that everybody is grappling with, and you can test this out for yourself, is that over a period of time we start operating in what is known as echo chambers. Okay, we only keep seeing our type of content, right? News and tailored likes tailored to what we see. We'll see opinion pieces that are echoing, you know, stuff about us, the kind of books, videos, TV shows, etc., all something that reinforces our beliefs. Today, for example, if all of us picked one word and you know, did a Google search, we'll all get different results. Okay, the reason is the results are dependent on your profiling. Now this is worrying because that's how you know, a lot of the ideas and opinions around the world are being shaped. So I know of people in our industry who purposely, for example, to ensure that they get this divergence, purposely visit very contrarian sites. They purposely search for stuff which they normally won't, so that they start seeing content which is balanced, you know, and not sort of tailored to them. And what happens is, as I said, over a period of time, it just greatly leads to very biased and you know, dichotomy increases in society, in, you know, greatly influencing overall behavior. I don't know how many of you have seen the or read the book or seen this documentary by Christopher Wiley, the Cambridge Analytica whistleblower. This happened a long time ago, right? The last presidential election in the US, he talks about how exactly it was manipulated using the forces of tracking. Brexit, of course, he talks about how Brexit was also completely influenced and made to happen using this. So this is the kind of influence that one is talking about, and the implications of what we are seeing today. Okay, so the question is there something that we can do about it? As individuals, actually nothing much. Therefore, you need governments, regulators, courts, civil society to step in and define rights. And, you know, those of you who are exposed to what is going on in India with the data privacy bill, etc., this is, you know, this is where the noise and the discussions are happening. And as organizations, you know, implement best practices programs to safeguard the rights of all the data, individuals' data you deal with, and no organization does it out of their own free will, and therefore the laws come in and mandate organizations to do stuff. Okay, there is a set of what I call safe and private good practices that I've kind of noted down. You know, for you to, for example, start with your physical environment. You know, do not give out your personal details at unknown locations in return for freebies. You know, you have these lucky draw coupons which you get stocked in malls in the good old days when we all visited malls. Okay, and hopefully soon again, right? Think twice and ask why when you're asked for your mobile number or mail ID or other places where it's not required. Like I remember last year I'd gone to buy pair of Hawaii chappals in a Bata store, and you know, that guy asked for mobile number. I said, why? He said, nahi, you know, system is asking for it. I said, no, then I won't buy. And I said, put whatever you want. I mean, this is an example which you've seen across stores, right? People ask and everybody now naturally gives out mobile numbers. Why? Right? Carefully shred, destroy documents, labels containing data about you before you sort of release them, right? Especially stuff like address labels, financial information, you know, shred them before it's chucked. Mobile apps, spring clean, I advise. At least once a quarter, delete the apps that you're not regularly using or you hardly use. Okay. Carefully monitor critical permissions like, location, camera, microphone. Give only permissions. Control over permissions, switch them off. Okay. On the web, you can turn off third-party cookies and browser history on your browser. So turn it off. Okay. Use the private browsing or incognito mode wherever possible. Think twice about what you post online. Okay. Especially be conscious of the fact that it is always permanent and it is always public. There's nothing called, anything that's private on the net. And I always tell people, think twice before you post stuff, especially about your children, because they can't do anything about it, and it's better to minimize what you post, right? um, Also, switch off smart devices at home when you're not at home, and in the nights especially. All the fancy devices that we have to be careful about it. Turn on all the key privacy enhancing features that absolutely all social media apps and properties offer. Please do whatever you can with that. Okay. Lock all your devices at all times, password protect where possible, set up OTT, OTP, two-factor biometric authentication wherever it is available. Can't emphasize enough. Passwords keep changing. As we say in our industry, a password is like a toothbrush. Never share and change frequently. Okay. Install antivirus, keep it updated where possible, even on your phones. Patch. Okay, keep downloading wherever you get an alert. Today almost all apps and all devices offer automatic updates of updates. Turn them on and please update. Okay, and do not use unlicensed software. It's like a nightmare. Okay. Watch where you go. Plenty of malicious websites and apps out there. For example, do not download apps from a non-app store or a Google Play Store. Okay, always only download from there. Avoid using free Wi-Fi. It's a hotbed of criminals. If you have to absolutely use free Wi-Fi, do not do banking and stuff like that on that. Okay. Do not open every photo, video, file attachment sent to you unless you're sure where it's coming from, and think twice, 3 times before you download any external content. Be aware of phishing. I think that most of us are smart enough now because it's become very common. Sensitive online activities, especially like banking, investment, payments, stick to a good and safe and clean device. For example, if you have a kid at home using a particular laptop to play games and doing whatever it is, do not do any banking or financial work from that same device. Okay. Mobile device, always lock your phone. Be careful about apps you download. Spring clean, as I said, and do not jailbreak or root your device ever. Okay, it seems very clever to do, but don't do it. And of course, remember that in spite of all this, you can get attacked and you can get tracked. So back up your data at all times, and be careful about which external devices you connect to. Okay. So that's all I have to say in a very short while. A bit about my company since we're here. This is I've co-founded this in about 8 years ago. We focus on two key areas: privacy and info security. Privacy, we've been one of the earliest players in India, and we've worked with some very marquee organizations in help implement privacy. We continue working with them. We also work with many small and mid-sized companies, especially many in Chennai as well, where we actually work like their virtual CISO and virtual privacy officer, and for which we've actually built a platform. Okay, we bring out a report. As I said, the 2021 is being released in a few days' time. Last year we won the Deloitte Fast 50 award at India as well as globally, and we do a whole bunch of stuff in this front as well. How we are different is that we've actually productized a lot of what is typically a manual service in terms of consulting. We've built this intelligence platform that basically helps organizations and empowers them to implement and manage. I'll always like to say that we'd like to do what Zoho has done today, for example, in a decade or so, where organizations should be able to manage their own security and privacy on their own without having to depend on external help, just the platform. Okay. We run a lab, which is where we do all the testing, and we also run a academy where we train senior privacy practitioners in India today. Okay. So that's it. That's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Great, Shivangi.
Amazing insights there, Shivangi. Very, very pertinent for these days and times.
Thank you.
And we're also quite fascinated that we've got a sneak peek into your report. So I could see certain information which are just yet to be released. You've taken the effort showcased to us on a preview basis, which is quite interesting.
Yeah. Thanks. So any questions any of you have, because I'll be happy to answer them. Usually I'm used to doing this session face to face, so it's usually buzzing. A little different when you do it online like this.
Yeah, I would like to just share, some experiences related to privacy.
Sure.
See, since I teach in a business school, so with the young people and what you said, posting pictures and being with the defense. So, below the surface, guys, there are so many things. Morphing of pictures, identity cards, and so on. So, posting any picture of people, I think we have to be, extra careful. Personally, what I do, I watermark each and every picture that I post. Okay. And I'm sharing this. So Facebook, gives you your memories 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 2 years ago, and all of that.
Yeah.
Shivangi, not one picture which is watermarked has been thrown up by Facebook as memories. Can you imagine this? And I post
wonderful.
I at least post something like 5 to 10,000 pictures in a year through my blog.
Okay. That's a very important tip.
Not one picture either by Facebook or by Google.
Okay. Wonderful. And, I think that's a great tip for everyone.
So I'm saying, look at their algorithms. The watermark is embedded in the JPG file, and they are able to recognize that this is a watermark picture, and therefore we can't use it in public domain.
Right.
So that's a small, tip which I always give to, especially the younger people, and especially the girl students, that you have to be very, very careful in what, pornography, nudity, any aspect, it can be, with the technology that is available, it can be misused.
True.
And so I thought I'll just share that with you.
Yeah, thank you. That is important.
That was a wonderful tip, because what was interesting is the echo chamber that you were talking about. Over the years, I have noticed most of what you said, and it was quite reassuring to see that a person who's been into this business of data privacy also reiterate some of the practices that I've been following, because I've moved around quite a bit, and I have seen that there are certain suggestions that I get on my mobile and on my desktop, things that I have not done online. So things do make sense. If you really look close enough, you will be able to figure it out, is something I keep telling many people. They're like, how did they know? I said, no, it's no big deal, because you give your phone number or you give some personal details somewhere when they ask you for it. And that personal detail links up and adds on to your profiling online. And Social Dilemma recently, which I saw.
Yeah.
That was a mind-blowing thing. And I have written quite a lot on my blog on these echo chambers for quite a while. So, this is one topic which intrigues me, and I have consciously ensured that, like you said, go on to websites which are not in sync with my thought process, because that way I get more expanded view of what things are about, and probably
Right.
I get to see things in a different perspective, which I may not have known otherwise.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
and
Superb.
this way, the dichotomy and the bias, right? You have two extremities forming, either for or
Correct,
against.
correct, correct.
When you go outside your comfort zone to take in information, it gives you a more grounded approach, and there
Yeah,
is also a center line you can take.
correct, correct, correct. You
So this
see
is
both
something
sides
which is
of,
very close. Yes,
right,
this is
right.
something which is close to my heart, and I was very happy to see that as part of the presentation. Thank you.
Wonderful, and wonderful to know that you're so conscious of it. Very few people realize it. Uh,
Oh, I
that's
am conscious of it, and I've been called out for it, saying I don't have an opinion. So.
okay, okay. Great, great.
Shwani, I have a question for you. This is
Yeah,
Murgal here.
yeah,
Nowadays, video KYC is coming in a more prominent way for
yeah,
banking industry for
yeah.
the completion. How do you ensure that that video KYC is of exposing a more privacy compared to other eKYC types? Because eKYC at least we type or we write something or we upload something, but video KYC is entirely we are sharing our personal videos, or even they are asking to show our PAN card or Aadhaar card kind of things.
Yeah.
So, if these banks have already built in any kind of mechanism for this one,
Yeah,
or any new things has to be brought in here.
yeah. From
That's
whatever
a
I
question
have,
for you.
yeah, whatever I have seen of banks, they have definitely put in place security systems to store the videos, and RBI is very strict about some of these norms. So they're forced to implement before they, and it's audited before they're allowed to go live. It's certainly a risk, but it is. I feel it is. It's like you sign something and give it to some local guy in your branch. Okay, you don't know
Mm.
also where that goes and how many copies are made of that countersigned PAN card copy. This in fact actually gives me a little bit more sort of I'm a little bit more reassured, because that video is going directly into their server. So vis-a-vis going through that whole supply chain of paper trail, right? So there are pluses and minuses to both. It's not as though one is highly risky over the other kind of stuff.
So let me butt in here with what I saw on Facebook today. Some guy who has advertised to all my friends and relatives on Facebook, I have moved from this address to this address in Hyderabad. Your best wishes is requested.
Oh my God.
How much more this was there this morning, and since I didn't know him, I didn't comment, but this is how much addresses are given out on Facebook. Entire address is out there. And to just give you an example as to the Facebook algorithm that is used, someone finally sent me a request for a BJP membership from Tirunelveli. I said, neither am I a BJP guy. I may be religious, but I'm not a BJP guy, and the membership is too small for me. So I told him no. But that's how Facebook profiling, gets you stuff. People sending links and so many such stuff. So I think we need to be ultra careful on how we post and what we post and personal details. A friend of mine today has posted his grandson's name. He said we named the baby, so his grandson's name is on Facebook. So I don't know. I mean, how much people realize that your rights on Facebook is your pictures belong to them. I think that's the first security threat that you sign away. So you can't really blame them if they use any of your pictures on any advertisements they have, because you're signed away saying that I accept the terms and conditions. That is something that people don't realize at all.
Yes, yes, very true, very true.
Adding on to Srikanth, many people don't realize that what we say when we accept, right, now is a legal document.
Yeah, yeah.
People think it is just when I remember when I started my first Yahoo account in BITS, it was like, okay. And I was probably the only one in that ITC sitting and reading every word in that terms and conditions, and people are making fun of me, but those terms and conditions are quite elaborate if you actually look. You literally give away everything for just a mail account.
Correct. You're signing away your soul, I always say.
Right. So that was the starting point when I started reading all those. And now somewhere I read in a news article online, I don't remember the website, but it said that those things that you sign, say accept, is as good as a digital signature, that you're accepting the terms and conditions, and they will hold in court. So people don't realize it.
Yeah. But at the same time, somebody did some research about a long time back, actually 7-8 years ago. If we started at that time, they said that if an average person read all the terms and conditions that one is exposed to as an individual, it could take you about some few years to go through everything. So it's not humanly possible.
But most of them have overlapping terms and conditions. If you've had the habit of reading it over the years, you kind of figure out that most of them have similar statements everywhere. So it becomes easier to skim through.
Correct. Yeah.
Shivani, one more question. Do Arrka only helping B2B, not for B2C? Like individuals, you are not helping down?
No, we work only with organizations. We do a little bit of awareness and all that. But our this thing is to work with companies, B2B.
Because more of individuals only falling prey to this kind of fraud and other activities compared to the companies.
That's true, but no, the companies have a two-pronged thing. One is that they are constantly falling to attacks. Believe me, it's like no matter what they do, they can be there. So there's a lot that needs to be done at the corporate end, and they're also the ones from where you can do some control, like the privacy bills, the data protection law, and all that will come. Puts a lot of curbs and mandates on and accountability on the organization, so that there is, it trickles down to the individual. Because while you may be aware of all this, what can you really do at an individual end? If you have to really influence stuff, it has to happen at the org level, right? So that's up. Anyway, we at the end of the day, we run a business, so there has to be a revenue model for it.
Okay.
Maybe for Murugavel, I can add. Sorry.
Yes,
if at the individual level, I think it is more essential that we are aware of the new world that we're getting into. When we started going out of our homes, we were taught of stranger danger by our parents. So this generation, when we have moved from real world, the face-to-face connect world to a digital world, I think it is up to us to educate ourselves of the platform that we are working on, rather than saying, I didn't know, because that is what most of us seem to be doing as a practice. I didn't know cannot discount the fact that there is an individual responsibility to understand where you are stepping in. Like, for example, if you wanted to take a degree or 12th standard course selection, 11th standard course selection, or a college, you would do enough analysis about it before you choose it. It's the same thing. When you can do that for that, I think for this also one needs to take the effort.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well said, Arti.
Can I ask one question?
Yes.
Sure.
Shivangi, two things. One is, now, based on your experience in this highly specialized area, how is the demand for professionals, and are we able to meet that demand? And secondly, is there something that we need to advise BITS Pilani that they have to supplement either the syllabi or some project-based work, so that we can, supplement the professionals in this area in the country?
Great question. There's a huge shortage of skilled professionals in the cyber security field itself. And I think the government is trying to bring in measures to encourage academic institutions to have formal courses. And I would definitely, I think BITS has done something, if I'm not mistaken, on adding on cybersecurity to the curriculum. I'm not sure exactly what. So, but yes, I mean, you do need a lot. And it's not just India, globally, there's a huge shortage. And
Yeah.
that's in the security field. In the privacy field, it is even worse, because the privacy field is where the security field was 20 years ago. So there, I mean, and for us as one of the reasons, for example, what pushed us into building our platform, you know, we were otherwise, me and my co-founder were in very comfortable consulting organizations, right? Is the reason is that, you know, you're not, that we're never going to catch up with the need for cybersecurity professionals and privacy professionals. So there's a huge need.
Yeah, so therefore, Vignesh and Srikant, and probably we can connect offline and use Shivangi as a resource, and we can start some dialogue. We can see what is the need, and probably this is one contribution as alumni we can make, as we are doing for some of the new venture creation courses that are run in the campus with the assistance of Silicon Valley entrepreneurs on the campus. So this is being done last couple of years, and this year it has been revived in a big manner. So similarly, I think, and with professionals like Shivangi and Aarti, there should be a way that we can try and bridge the gap if it exists. So I don't even know, and that's why I asked that question. So
Absolutely.
great presentation, Shivangi. Thank you so much. It
Thank
was
you.
very, very enlightening. I'm glad I connected. Vignesh, yeah, back to you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, one
Thanks.
last question so that I get a takeaway. Supposing I have location share on my phone in an off mode 24/7 and it's switched on only when I use a Dunzo or I use a Swiggy or whatever, I switched off again. Is that okay?
That's fine. That definitely minimizes some of the thing, but there are several apps that force fit, you know, they'll still collect your data and still collect location data, but at least wherever this is a controllable parameter in your control, right? So do that wherever possible. By default, keep your location off.
Oh, that's right.
Even if you keep your location off, there is a simple experiment where you can find out how much of your location is tracked.
Yeah.
This I came across a few years back by chance. Google gives you an option to see your location history. So if you go and check the location history, it would have tracked what you had put on, and where you have switched off also. There is the algorithm has the capacity to fill in the gaps, and that is the power that these algorithms have to track our movement over the years.
No, I mean, they do some very smart things. It's like, you know, your location may be off, but they'll track which Wi-Fi networks who are in your vicinity. You may not even connect to those Wi-Fi networks, but because, and it's not even a dangerous permission, right? So it will just check which Wi-Fi networks are in the vicinity. That is mapped at the back end. So although you have your location turned off, by the fact that you're in the vicinity of these Wi-Fi networks can tell where you are in the world. So,
Also,
I mean,
your
it's
phone
very
tower
sophisticated.
network, right?
Tower
when
network,
you're answering your
GPS.
phone.
Yeah.
So all that
there's
gets tracked.
Correct.
Okay, great.
Okay.
I
Thank
see
you so much.
Jayesh has just joined. Jayesh, I know you joined a little too late, but if there is any question you want to ask the information expert, you probably can unmute and ask. The recording is something which
As
will
he
be
doesn't make
available.
a statement, please repeat. It's fine.
No, I think I'm fine. I think if, yeah, you said that the recording will be available.
Yes.
So yeah, great. I'll probably go through the recording.
So Shivangi,
I'm
this
just
will go on to our BITSAA Chennai YouTube channel, and also the BITSAA website will archive this recording for people to see. So I think this was a very good cyber security 101 for the layman and for the professionals to watch out for. I think
Thank you so much.
it makes an excellent beginning, and since your contacts are there, I think people will reach out if they need anything more.
Thanks so much, and thank you for being a patient audience. Bye,
Shivangi,
everyone.
thank you very much. It was a great presentation. I
you.
learned a lot, and I'm sure most of the participants really loved it. And like you very rightly said, maybe not too much can be done at the individual level, but at least we are more aware, and collectively, maybe something good will come out of all this. Thank you very much. I'll log off now.
Sir, one second. Can we take a quick group picture, as is the trend, before everyone logs out?
Yeah.
Okay. Switching my TV on, my video on.
Yeah, and after this, Aarti will present our vote of thanks.
Hold. I need a minute.
I can see Raghu there, and Shrikant, you don't really have any other option now. You better come online, even if it means for
Come
a
on,
minute.
disguise. We want to see your beard.
Raghu is also there, but we can't see you, Raghu. Shrikant, we are
Raghu is
waiting
there
for
with
you.
his bike or without the bicycle? Okay, are we done?
No, I'm still waiting for Shrikant to step in. Not going to let
Sorry,
him.
no webcam.
No webcam. Okay. So waiting for Srika.
Yeah, he's there. Lovely.
Yeah,
Hey.
Yeah. So now the camera is on. Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, good.
Yeah, say cheese.
Vignesh, you are good to go now.
Yeah, all set. Murugvel, you can also do a screen grab just in case.
Sure. I am done screen.
Great. Thanks a lot. And Aarti,
Thank
all
you.
yours. Thanks a lot,
With
Shivangi.
Shrikant, I don't think I should be giving. Senior there.
What
But yeah, it was eh?
No, I missed something. Right? Yeah, it's better with. Yeah. So what was told? Yeah, I have this halo on my head. No, that's fine. I need it.
That is why we are saying you should probably give the vote of thanks. He went off.
No. You do.
Yeah, I mean, thanks for the great, wonderful session. Thanks for the great, wonderful session. There's quite a lot we all learned, and it is good to learn from the expert in the field that some of the best practices to be followed for us to safeguard our privacy, our data, in the best possible way as individuals. Because as Shivangi rightly pointed out, individually we may not be able to do much about the changes that need to come in for data privacy or information privacy, but to safeguard ourselves and our data, there is a lot we could do. And thanks for giving us that. So it was an amazing and interesting session. And thank you for making it interactive at the end with the QA as well.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, Shivangi. Thanks, Srika.
Bye.
Thanks a lot, and look forward to seeing you in our next event. Bye-bye.
Yeah, sure.
Bye.
Thanks, Jayesh.
Bye.